Hi folks, I'm Mike and I hope you're well. Thank you for joining me for this, the second in this series where I feature artists, people who watch the channel, and I feature their music, and I have a couple of guests on the show and we talk about that music and some of the struggles people may have had in production, and just we chat in general about all things to do with recording music. Also, I want to thank the people who have submitted. There's been many of you since I announced this a few weeks ago have submitted your songs. I am listening to every single song, and I am playing 5 per show. Now, if you have not been chosen yet, that doesn't mean you won't be chosen. It may take me several weeks before I get to some of them. And you are still welcome to enter your songs to have them played on the show and featured on my website when I get that bit built, which I haven't quite got to yet. Follow the link in the description down below if you would like to submit your music. And what else have I got to say before we get into it? The other thing I want to say is that the links for the songs that you're going to be listening to through the show will be added to the description just after the live show today. Whew. Right, so guys, the thing is, we're going to listen to these songs here. People have generously allowed us to use their music on the show. And I have picked from the many things in the many sort of entrants I've got, because they've stood out to me in some way. That doesn't mean it's always the highest class of music or something like that. Some people are just getting started, but something about their tracks has stuck out to me. Finally, I just want to say, before we listen to our last song, there's a little bit of a point to me playing this song. He is a bit of a friend of the channel, but I didn't choose this song because of that. I didn't even really notice that his name is Clive Harding. He's a bit of a supporter of the channel, but I didn't really notice it was him. I listened to the songs first and then find out who it is after, so I just sort of click the link and have a listen. And a part of the reason I'm playing it is because it's a bit of an equal opportunities situation. I want to make sure that anybody who's considering submitting a song, that they're not concerned that I'm going to choose songs which are just trendy or, the right kind of genre or in the right age group, because Clive is 72.
So you're saying he's a non-trendy old person, and you're really presenting this in a great light, Mike, just quietly.
I'm sure Clive would agree. No, I've actually watched another video by him some time ago, and I sort of didn't connect that it was him. He made a video on YouTube about his many decades of recording music with his mates from back in the 60s. So Clive is 72. He's from the UK. He says he's been trying to record himself since he was 8 or 9 years old. He's gone through all of it: 4-track, reel-to-reels, cassette.
Wow.
Remember the old Porter Studios? I used to use those in the late 80s.
Tascam.
And then finally, he started using Cakewalk in 2019. Now, the song that he submitted to me was his second song ever to record in Cakewalk. So I'm not asking you to be forgiving when you listen to it. I just think I want to give you context about where this person's come from. He did use a VST bass, and he said he wished he'd since got a real bass guitar, and he wished he'd used that. And I can vouch for that. I sort of didn't use real bass for quite a while. I don't know if you're in the same situation, Pete. And I think there's some great VST basses out there. Ample Sound makes some great ones, but there's something about the real thing. And you can even get quite a cheap bass, to be honest with you, and it will sound a little bit better than using a VST. Interestingly, he said that you guys may know the situation, since he heard that his song would be featured, he tried to re-record the vocals and he tried to remaster the song, and he said it just wouldn't happen. Even though he felt he'd learned a lot since he recorded this song, revisiting it, he just couldn't get the kind of, I guess, magic that he was hoping for. So he had a hissy fit from the band and that. And the reason that I've chosen this song, and I'm going to preempt this, is about delivery, okay? I'm just going to say vocal delivery. This is actually a cover. I didn't know this was a cover when I heard it. So after I heard this, I went and listened to the original, which had like 6 million views on YouTube. And it was one of those weird situations where I was like, oh, I don't like the original as much as this version that's been sent to me. But I think it's to do with the character of the voice. Let's have a listen. Clive Harding, Don't Let the Old Man In. I relate to the lyrics of this song.
Don't let the old man in. I wanna live me some more. Can't leave it up to him. He's knocking on my door. I knew all of my life that someday it would end. Get up and go outside. Many moons I have lived, my body's weathered and worn. Ask yourself how old would you be if you didn't know the day you were born. Try to love on your mind and stay close to your friends. Toast each sundown with wine. Don't let the old man in. Many moons I have lived, my body's weathered and worn. Ask yourself how old would you be if you didn't know the day you were born. When he rides up on his horse and you feel that cold bitter wind, look out your window and smile. Don't let the old man in. Look out your window and smile. Don't let the old man
Well, there you go. Clive Harding, Don't Let the Old Man In. I'll go to the oldest man apart from me first. Pete.
What? Am I older than Ed? Jesus. Okay. Sorry, Ed. So yeah, when you talk about the delivery of that, that's the thing. Like I'm a sucker for being hit in the feels and the passion of someone singing something and playing something that they clearly are delivering with, that they care about. And it's not that I don't like pop songs, and it's not that I don't like something that's funky and that's just light and airy and stuff, but that just had the feeling that the Cliff, was it Cliff? The singer?
Clive. Yep.
Clive, sorry. I've just changed your name, Clive. That Clive was just like emoting and feeling when he was playing it. So that's the first thing I'll say, is that I loved the passion and I loved the feeling in that one. And that just made me, it sucked me in and just made me want to like hear more of what Clive was having to say there. Even knowing it's a cover now, I'm like, I want to still hear this song. Like the pedal steel in there, whether it was pedal steel or slide or whatever it was that was going over the top of that, the guitar layering was really nice. The vocal harmonies in that sort of last minute were beautiful. Like him, vocal harmonies with himself, that sat really nicely. What I would love to... So when the vocals came in at the start with the single guitar, they sounded great. As soon as the instrumentation built up, I think it's probably reinforcing the importance of automation, is that when you're recording a vocal and then either compression or automation or a little bit of both, once those instruments came up, when you're doing a like very stripped down song like that, you really need to automate those vocals up so that they can stay there. Because I found that in the second half of the song, when we have more instrumentation, the vocals got a little bit buried, and I would have loved to hear them a little bit more present and up in the mix. But that, I mean, again, I only noted that because I'm like, Mark's going to ask me for some notes here and I'm going to have something to say. But I really enjoyed it. I loved listening to it. I've never heard that song before. Is it from that movie? Is that a movie? I'm assuming that's like a Clint Eastwood movie or something. I'm so out of the pop
I've
culture
no idea.
world.
No idea.
I don't know. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I think that it's great. It's a testament to the fact that if you had anything to do with Cliff being able to... Cliff. I've changed the name again. Clive being able to record that song, Mike, that's good. And if that's his second attempt, did you say, in Cakewalk, imagine what his 12th attempt and his 27th attempt is going to be like. Only good from here. That's what I say.
Wow, second attempt. I missed a bit. Great. I mean, Pete and I are on the same wavelength. He's literally said everything I made notes about. The thing that struck me was the organic sound of the acoustic. It's been captured well. Really great use of chord changes between the sections, which I really liked. Again, I'm a drummer, so I don't think in these terms, but I really appreciate it when people do that well. The words that I came up with were emotive and expressive, and there's just an authenticity to the sound. He's really performing this like he means it, and that, really that is more important than any plug-in or production technique that we're going to waffle on about on our channels. Country-esque harmonies as well, like you said, Pete, when they came in, lovely, kept the song moving. And again, I'd made notes on the automation, particularly the lower notes, and then I was thinking compression. I'm not hearing much compression on anything in the song, which I was thinking, okay, is this aiding the expression in terms of the the dynamic flow between the instruments, especially the guitar, which has been played very fluidly and expressively, and the vocals as well, but maybe just a touch with a slow attack, slow release, low ratio, 2 or 3 to 1, just a little bit on the guitars, just to smoothen those a little bit, and then on the vocals as well to help bring up those lower notes and gel those together, or maybe some gentle bit of master bus compression there. I don't know what he's done, but I was debating how much to go with that, because a criticism of my own is that I've overcompressed stuff in the past, and it's not always allowed songs to breathe. This, I think, breathes really nicely, and there's no production, I don't think, that takes away from the beautiful song, but maybe just a little bit here and there on the vocals and the acoustic, or the master bus, or both, just a little bit, just to curtail some little edges and smoothen that out, and then it'd be an even more pleasant listening experience. But yeah, Clive, great song.
It's a funny one with compression. I sometimes think that if you're just starting out and you're not confident, or you don't really understand what you're doing with compression, then on balance, I'd say you're better off not using it. If you're not using it purposefully and you don't really understand what you're doing with it. I mean, probably, unless it's being used as an effect, which I know in sort of dance music, or sometimes people want to hear the pumping compression, which is fine. I get that. But, other than that, good compression should be almost transparent, really, like you're not aware of it, unless you're a clever listener like Ed is, or something like that, where you can sort of pick up on it, or you kind of know it's there. But I sort of suspect that Clive, in this case, has not been overly confident in using it. He's indicated as well to me in an email that he got hold of Ozone and tried to do some mastering with that and wasn't getting very far, and abandoned that as well. So look, it's not an easy thing at all. And for people who are in the chat and watching, if you're struggling with compression at all, join the club. I would say I wouldn't mind betting that all three of us here at some point have really struggled with using compression and getting it just right. It's one of the harder things. But I'm going to be a bit I'm going to be the mean guy here, and I didn't expect to be, because I've heard this song several times, and I agree with you both. My favourite part of the song is the vocal, and I suspect that's the part that Clive is least confident on, and so I'm hoping that he'll be encouraged by the fact that just because you're not singing things perfectly right or technically right doesn't mean it's not a fantastic vocal. And I had the same word in my head as Ed there, authenticity. It just felt like he'd written the song, kind of thing. He just owned all the lyric and everything there. It was just perfect, and it was a little bit of a shame that in the mix it got a little bit buried here and there. I just wanted to hear it so much. But what I'm going to be more harsh on is with the guitars. I disagree with Ed on the guitars. I think the guitars could sound better. I was a little concerned, and I only noticed it on this play. I didn't notice it right off. But I felt that they, here and there, they had that sort of plasticky feel that you hear when you DI an acoustic guitar in and you use the pickup. I don't know if Clive has done that. Sometimes you can get that effect when you don't want it, if you mic too closely as well with an acoustic guitar. It's an easy trap to fall into, is to get the mics, you know, like really, really close. And it doesn't really sound the way an acoustic guitar sounds anymore when you do that.
Yeah,
so
now you mentioned it. Yeah. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, there was something that it can make them sound a little bit kind of plastic. Plastic is the wrong word. A little bit sort of brittle sounding and unnatural. And I didn't notice it on the first few plays. I noticed it then, so it's obviously not too bad. Clive, if you're watching, if you did happen to DI your acoustic guitar, then that's my number one tip for beginners starting out. Don't DI acoustic guitars. Mic them up. He may or may not have done that, so apologise, Clive, if I'm getting that wrong. But yeah, a fitting end to a show which I've really enjoyed. All the music actually on tonight's show. There's been something different in there. So I do encourage anyone who's watching in the chat now and who's watching on the replay, I'm prepared to let any kind of music or anything on this show. I try not to be, I know my biases in terms of genre. I am playing things which are not in genres I typically like. I'm happy to do that. It's all about, is there just something about the song which grabs you and stands out in some way? Whether that's production, performance, lyric. Sometimes maybe it's helped a little bit by the video that you're supplying with it. Maybe not. But yeah, all of those things. So, you know, give it a go. Give it a go. And you might get some really useful feedback from the various guests that I'm having on the show.